Hi, third grade. Today we are going to practice asking and answering questions about key ideas and details in an informational text. Asking and answering questions about what you read will help you understand the text better. We ask questions to get information or to understand something. As you read, ask yourself questions about the text. Then look for key details in the text to answer your questions. Sometimes a text may not have the exact answer to your question. You may need to make an inference. An inference is a reasonable judgment based on details in the text and on your own knowledge. Look at this picture. Think about what questions you have about it. The title is Prairie Dog Homes. Okay, so you could be thinking, what questions do you have? Is this maybe a coyote or a wolf? Is that a predator to prairie dogs? Um, I shouldn't say people, how many prairie dogs live in a burrow? Okay, those are all good questions that you could ask about that particular picture. Now we're going to read a story called Termite Mounds and answer questions about it. You should have access to a packet to print out online um, that will go over the story with you and show you the questions there. All right, let's read together. Termites are insects that live together in nests. Some termites are called mound builders. They build their nests from mounds of clay. Some of these mounds are more like towers. They stand almost 35 feet tall. Oh my goodness. And if you look over here, I know my face is in the way, but on the left-hand side, there is one of those tall mounds. Kind of crazy. Mound builders are found in Africa and Australia. They are also in parts of South America. Other animals in these areas use termite mounds too. Some wait until the termites move away. Others ignore the termites and use the mound anyway. Termite mounds are usually the highest place around. Cheetahs often use the mound as a lookout point. They climb to the top of the mound. There, they keep an eye out for their next meal. So cheetahs use the mounds to look for their prey. Sometimes the termites move on to a new nest. That's good news for many of the other animals. These animals know how to put an empty termite mound to good use. Some animals make the empty nest their new home. Mongooses are small animals in Africa. They make a hole in the mound to get inside. The termite mound keeps them safe from other animals. Snakes also use an empty termite mound as a home. Interesting. So mongooses and snakes use an old termite home as their new home. Last paragraph here. Termite mounds also come in handy for large animals. Elephants and rhinos use them as scratching posts. Bug bites and dry mud can make any creature itchy. These large animals stand near a mound and rub against them. Sometimes they even stand over a mound to scratch their bellies. Okay, so it wants you to make sure if you understood this passage well, you should be able to tell me, how do other animals use termite mounds? And we could go back and underline some of those key ways. So if you look up here, we got our first example with what? Cheetahs use the mound as a lookout point. Remember, it says they climb to the top and there they can look out because it's high up off the ground. They could look for their next meal. That was one way. Then we got down to paragraph 5 here, and some animals make use of the empty termite nests. It says mongooses, okay, make a hole to get inside and use them as a shelter to keep them safe from other animals. And who else? Right. Snakes also use the empty termite mound as a home. The last thing that I think we could underline is that elephants and rhinos could use those mounds, those termite mounds, as scratching posts because they're very hard and they could scratch their itchy skin along those posts. Okay. So if we go down to, or if you flip in your packet to the questions, I'll scooch my video over here so we can see. It says, number 1, this question has 2 parts. Answer part A and then answer part B. Well, part A. Why do cheetahs climb up the termite mounds? A. They can see farther to find animals to hunt. B. They can sleep safely on top of termite mounds. C. They use termite mounds as scratching posts. Or D. They can call to each other more easily. Well, 3rd grade, this one is right there in the text. If you look back, what paragraph was that about cheetahs? Right here, paragraph 3. Cheetahs often use the mound as a lookout point. So if you go back to our choices, which one tells you so they can climb up high and see further? Right, you should be circling choice A there. Okay, and now part B says which sentence, one sentence from the passage best supports the answer you chose for part A above. Other animals in these areas use termite mounds too. There, they keep an eye out for their next meal. Was that about cheetahs? Some animals make the empty nest their new home. Or others ignore the termites and use the mound anyway. Which one talks about cheetahs and how they use those as lookout? Right. There, they keep an eye out for their next meal. Wonderful. Okay, let's go down to number 2, please. Which sentence from the passage best supports the inference that termite mounds are hard? How do we know that they're very hard and solid? Some of these mounds are more like towers. They are also in parts of South America. Does that tell us that they must be hard where they're located? I don't know if I like that one. Termite mounds also come in handy for large animals, or elephants and rhinos use them as scratching posts. What do we think? I'm thinking most of you might be between choice A, some of these mounds are more like towers, or choice D, elephants and rhinos use them as scratching posts. Which one is better proof that they must be hard? They must be able to withstand things. I hope you're saying choice D, right? If scratching posts, if those mounds weren't hard and durable, elephants and rhinos, those big animals, would not be able to use them as scratching posts because they would rub up against them and they'd fall apart. So choice D is the best answer for number 2 there. Okay, we already kind of talked about number 3. You're not going to need to write anything there. How do large animals use termite mounds? Here was one of our sentences, right? As scratching posts, you could have talked a little bit about that paragraph at the end there. Now, for the last one, number 4, it says to write. On Schoology, you have an attachment that you could print out, our RACES graphic organizer, so that we remember to restate the question, answer the question, cite some text evidence, explain it, and then sum everything up. So let's look and see. The question is asking, why are termite mounds important to so many animals? Include details from the passage in your response. It says use the space provided on page 17 to write your answer, but if you look carefully, we want you to use this RACES graphic organizer. So how could we restate? Termite mounds are important to so many animals because, you could say answer. Big and small animals use them for protection or to help them find food or to scratch, right? And then you're going to want to make sure you can say cite text evidence. The text says, find some proof there and explain it. All right? Take your time on this and see how well you can answer that response. Thanks for joining me today, third grade.